Howdy folks, it's Zach with Harder, Happier, Healthier. How you doing? I wanted to cover a topic that I keep seeing a lot. And the one thing I've noticed is like it's always the same questions, and some of the questions don't really have a good answer, right? And I think everybody's going around saying, what's the right answer for this? What can I, is this possible? Should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? And the question is, it's obvious that it's different for every person, okay? The thing that I want to talk about is carnivore longevity. How long can I do carnivore, right? I see a lot of people post, they're like, oh, you can't be in ketosis for long term. This happens. And then you see other people that it's like, they've been in ketosis for 11, 12 years and they're perfectly fine. So what's the difference? Well, let's talk about the differences between some people. Some people have really good willpower and some people don't, okay? The people that say you can't be in ketosis for a long time typically are the people that were overweight, fat, and eating the bad foods to begin with, and they found the ketogenic diet to get them off of it. And they want us to believe that ketogenic is not sustainable and not that they're just repeating their patterns that they previously had in their previous diet where they're just making bad choices. So to me, I think if somebody can't do carnivore or keto long term, it's probably a willpower issue. I see the same excuses. Neoglucogenesis is stressful on the body. I mean, there's no evidence for that. What is that stress? Is it cortisol? Because that's a measure of stress, and my cortisol is always low, right? Lower now than it was previously. So do I think that carnivore is sustainable long term? Yes, for some people who have the willpower to do it. It's not easy. There's a lot of stresses that come from outside of you, which is like your family, your friends, holidays, those kind of bad food is going to come your way. Are you going to have the strength to do it? And if somebody's on a carnivore diet and they fall off the wagon, it's a lot easier to say, oh, I couldn't do it because it's too hard, right? So everybody's giving themselves an out and an excuse, which is normal human behavior. So let's look at it from that perspective. People lie on both sides, right? There's people that say they've been carnivore for longer than they have, and they've fallen off a few times and they've gotten back on. They lie. There's people that say that they were keto and they never were. They never got past the sugar cravings. They always ate the crappy food and they just pretended they were keto, and they say, oh, I didn't get the results, okay? It doesn't make people a bad person. It just means that we're programmed to want others' approval. Unfortunately, that's just part of life. I personally don't give a shit about approval. I've always been that way. My wife will tell you, you can be my best friend for 50 years if, or 5 minutes, I'm going to treat you the same. And if it's something that's dishonest or I think is just because of my own past, I have to be that way. I have to have a straight line for myself. Otherwise, I fall off the wagon. So I tell people how it is. I think that carnivore, if it's stressful, or keto, it's stressful, it has more to do with the mental aspect of it than it does whether or not our bodies can handle it. Because there are some people that can handle it just fine. They do it long term. They stay the course. Do I think it's okay to have a cheat day or eat an apple here or there or do this or do that? And I think it's gonna end you? No, right? That's the other thing, is that it's not really important that you stick to it like 100% and you never fail or you eat the wrong thing or what have you. I mean, I think the basics for a carnivore lifestyle, because this is true with wolves, right? Wolves occasionally eat a piece of fruit or something like that. Bears eat fruit. Lions, I don't think lions are the only ones that really stick to just meat. But it's okay, right? You are human, and there's not a right answer for every single person that's going to fit every single person. And if you don't have the willpower to be strict meat-only carnivore all the time every day, that's okay. Understand that doesn't mean that the plant foods are proper for humans. That just means that you understand that they're toxic, you intake them, and you think that your body is strong enough to mitigate them and overcome the toxicity. That's perfectly fine too, right? It doesn't mean that you have to prove to yourself that plants are fine or they're not fine. The truth is plants are toxic. they have chemicals in them, even fruit, that are not good for humans, and that means that, try to avoid them when you can. If you eat them, know your body can handle those, right? You have mechanisms for dealing with those toxins, but that's the whole. I don't preach the dogma. I mean, I want to know what the truth is, but I don't want to feel like I can't, like I'm gonna pass away if I have a fucking piece of fruit or something, right? But I'm also going to know the difference between what's proper for human food and what's not, right? I think, this is just so many questions about, oh, can I be in ketosis for this long and this long? Yes, you can, because I did it, right? It was in, long term, 5-6 months at a time without eating, anything other than meat, and I was fine, right? But I proved to myself I could do that. It doesn't mean that I haven't had something here or there, to just be human, right? Just to feel like I can do whatever it is I want to do. So I think that's the answer, all right? Is it sustainable? Yeah, sure. Do you want it to be sustainable? Probably not, right? Because it's difficult, right? Most people don't like doing difficult things. I like doing difficult things, right? I'll do it because it's difficult. But that isn't for everybody. So don't listen to somebody who says, oh, you can't do keto for this long because it's stressful in the body and gluconeogenesis is or is not good for you or whatever. That doesn't, like, we're human beings. There's no right or wrong answer for everyone. I know many people who've done it long term and they're perfectly fine. I know many people who do it for a couple months and then they go back and go back and forth. So and they're fine. They're healthy, right? The whole goal would be to feel healthy and to feel like you're living your life to the best of your ability and to be strong and, do you have brain fog? Do you feel like you're functioning properly? Those kind of things, like, is your gut, how's your gut doing? Mentally, the diet will have an effect on you. So do the best you can with what you got, with where you're at, A lot of people can't afford to do strict carnivore and do it properly because, all they can afford is ground beef. And I wouldn't eat ground beef every day only for, that long either. Like, I would definitely want to eat something else. So, I'm lucky enough to where I can eat different cuts of meat and, shrimp and seafood and just things like that. So yeah, don't think that there's don't even worry about it. Do the best that you can. And if you start to do carnivore and you feel like you're feeling like crap and you want to try something different, then try something different. Don't listen. Who cares? Educate yourself on the science behind it and the why. And, some of the pathways and things that, like fruit and sugar and protein and all that. So how they all break down your body. Like, learn that process and figure these things out for yourself. Because there is no one size fits all. And, in our house, we try to practice, what did we do yesterday? How did it make us feel? What do I think that I can improve on? And you ask yourself these questions and you try to figure this stuff out. But, in society, so like... I post some information, and everybody's always got a problem for every solution, and it's just like the way people think these days because they want to be recognized. So they want to have something smart to say about every post or this or that, and to me, I know that that's brain inflammation. I know that there's something in you that's causing you to. It's like a fight or flight response, and. Take information that you find and make it yours and learn from it, and don't argue with every person that presents you with something that goes against what you're saying. If they're saying something and you think something different, then you keep it to yourself and you go post that on your page or you make your own claim. But going around and just like attacking what other people think are their ideas, it kind of makes you look like pathetic because you don't have your own ideas, right? I don't go on other people's pages arguing with them, but a lot of people come on my page to argue with me, which, it's like, I know the more you believe in something, the more people will naturally want to oppose you just because that's just the nature of human beings. But my goal is always to help and to improve the lives people around me. I don't believe in the dogma. I don't believe that, like there's some people in my group that have to do only meat, or they feel terrible or they're sick, right? So yeah, in their scenario, like that's saving their lives. So they don't give a shit, you know, about the dogma. They just want to feel good, which I don't blame them, And you got people like Paul Saladino, 400 grams of fruit. That's his deal. Like he's doing the best that he's got to do for him, I feel the best on meat only. That doesn't mean I'm not going to chastise myself. Or a lot of people talk about falling off the wagon. Like, who cares, man? The big thing is if you can avoid seed oils, avoid grains, seeds, nuts, and no processed food, dude, doesn't matter. Like that to me is good enough. That we're not going for perfection, but if you can do those things, you're doing much better than the next guy. Much better. So, and that's what we're shooting for. At least in my Facebook groups, Carnivore, Harder, Happier, Healthier. That's what we're about. We just want people to feel good, and it is sustainable and it's not sustainable for some. But I don't think it's stressful long term or any of that stuff. I think some people, maybe the diet that they're on stresses them out, right? And if you have internal mental stress, that makes dealing with the diet, it doesn't matter what diet, you could be on the best diet in the world, and you're still going to have these problems because it's mental. So we have to remember the mental, emotional aspect of these of the diet matters. It certainly matters, and it's a big deal. So going around asking questions, is this diet, good for me, or what should I eat, and this and that? And if you're stressed out about it, it doesn't fucking matter what I tell you or what the answer is, because you're gonna be hurting. So yeah, man, let's do the best we can with where we're at with what we got. Not shoot for perfection. Let's try to make others, around us happy, and teach them about our ways of eating and how, because it's the other part is I get a video, or somebody sends me a message or a video of some vegan that lived to 100 years old, and I'm like, that's so anecdotal, and like we don't know, like maybe that guy like had 3 wives that like tickled his butt for him every day or something, like he had the best life ever, and he could have ate dog shit and smoked cigarettes every day and lived to 100, which I've seen videos of like there's this old black man who's like super sweet guy who's like smoking cigars and drinking whiskey, and he was like 116, and he ate steak and smoked cigarettes every day and lived to 116 or whatever age it was. It was some ridiculous age, but it's all anecdotes. Like that guy was just probably cool as shit and fucking lived for a long time because he was not stressed out. So if you're stressed out about being sick, you're gonna get sick, right? So that's what we got to focus on, right? What makes you feel good? I got tons of people on my friends list that are pro fruit or anti fruit or this or that, and we all have one thing in common: is we just want to feel good. So I don't think there's a one size fits all, but I do think it's sustainable if you can handle it, And maybe you can't. Maybe you can't. You don't know until you try. So that's why I always tell people: stop asking questions. Try, experiment, give yourself 30 days, 90 days, whatever. You could do it for 90 days, then get off of it for 90 days. Do it again for 90 days, right? And just play with it, make it yours. Everybody's looking for the magic cure or the answer, and I don't think it exists. I think there's a lot of mental, emotional stuff that goes along with this diet. All of the positive results, whether it's vegan or carnivore or any other diet that show positive results, it seems to have one thing in common, and that's eliminating processed food, seed oils, grains, rice, pasta, all the stuff that's terrible for humans, right? Any of the powdered stuff. So, maybe there's something to that. So maybe it really just matters that you care about your health, right? Because if you don't care about your health, it goes to shit. I know all about that, So, but anyway, yeah, I just wanted to share that. I do think carnivore is sustainable if you can hack it, if you can handle it, if you got the mental capacity to do it. And, some of us do and some of us don't. That doesn't make us a bad person. It just means we're good at some things that other people aren't, and we are good at some things that other people, or we're not good at things that other people are. So it's just the way it works. So, but we will speak to you guys another time. I'll try to get another video out here shortly with Dr. Solt in the next few days. Discuss some pretty cool topics, so we'll have some more videos coming out. Please like, subscribe, share. We're just trying to get the message out there that, I definitely don't think that, I mentioned vegan diet earlier, that, that's the best way to go about it. And, a lot of people are being lied to and told that that's the healthy diet. And that for sure, I know is not true. You definitely need to have meat in your diet. There's a lot of healing that goes on when you start eating meat. So let's get the message out there and do the best we can.